Alright now, how you doing? Hope you're doing alright. I didn't really do too much today. I think I did really just a little bit, but I did do something that I'm really happy with, and that was that I started working on this Minecraft world, and one of the biggest issues, right, that I've been having is keeping anything, I mean anything, without just deleting it, not liking it, and moving on. Well, now it's changed. This much different. I kept something. I started building, and I kept it. Yeah, I know. Not really the most impressive thing, but at the end of the day, much better than I have it. Right? Fact, I've gone Australian at the end of this. I was trying to do in English. That's just not working today, so we're going to go ahead and keep this with the Aussie accent, and this is just how it's going to be for the rest of the video. Sorry about that. Now, keeping with the theme of excitement, this has been one of my more difficult things to overcome in these early days. I want to really get down to the technical nitty gritty, but I haven't been able to do that because, unfortunately, right, I would like to have a baseline, a world to actually build around. If I don't have an NPC set up, you know, a place for these NPCs to be, what's the point of even trying to create these complex NPCs? There's no reason. What's the point of trying to create all this, loot and all these technical abilities and different things and upgrades for the player to purchase? There's no reason for that if there's absolutely no world for this all to fit into. So I've been trying to get something down, and the whole point of my initial build was to just go ahead and make a little bit of a demo. But I can't have a demo if I, you know, have nothing built. So I'm very inspired technically, but I'm not very let's say, accomplished on the building side of all this, right? So, I've been really struggling to find a way to produce a world that doesn't look flat. That's one of the big things I didn't want, because I started on a super flat world, because I didn't want to start on a big, complex, actual world. That's just too much. I didn't want that. Plus, there's a lot of terraforming, and while there's still going to be some terraforming on my end, it's going to be a little different knowing that I built literally everything. Sure, I didn't place every block, but I sure as hell made myself some tools to help out, like my little world edits. Beyond that, though, honest to God, loving, loving what I have started. It's really nothing. It's still kind of flat. It's not the most addicting, but it's better than having nothing, right? So, yeah, that's everything. I was struggling for so long to find a tool that was creating in the way that I liked it. And now I have a tool. I have two tools. One where I can kind of run around on the floor, it'll create below me, and then one where I can look and paint. And the one where I'm looking and painting is good for like the mountains and the depth. The one below me is just good to start running around and make a really big flat area. So that way I have a little space to build. And the whole point of the first demo area is to be the first village, simple village, not a whole lot going on there. And then there's going to be a dungeon, and there's going to be a boss that spawns every now and again. And players, the main grind for that specific demo is going to be grinding out to get the full set of gear and maybe a couple of the spell, you know. If I want to do a spell, I don't really know yet. Um, there is definitely room for more. I'm thinking maybe in the dungeon I can hide a secret enemy. Maybe in the dungeon I can hide a um what do you call it? Well, not what do you call it, but more so what would it be, maybe in the dungeon or maybe just like elsewhere. I kind of want to hide a second boss, but it's like the moment they find it, then it's no longer a secret because everybody will know about it unless it's kept secret by my players. But I don't know if I'm going to have that many people playing who would even give a shit about that. Or the people who do find the secret, who knows if they would just share it, Because it's only a secret until it's found. And then if that secret is shared, it's just public knowledge that new players wouldn't know about, but experienced players would just be like, oh yeah, that's just that, you know? I think it's fun because I want to encourage the chase to find said secret, especially for the demo. It's like, oh, you got all the armor, you got the weapon, you collected a few of those spells too. Did you, I don't know, fight the secret boss to have? Boom, that gives them an incentive to keep playing. Or those who have found it will be like, yeah, I've already found it, I just couldn't beat it, right? And if I make it like challenging to where maybe you do need the gear from the first one to go fight it, it could be a cool little incentive for those who have already experienced the demo. Hoorah! 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 But yeah, finally having something created that I'm happy about is an energizing feeling from this kind of low point of like, oh, I've got all these ideas, I'm not really doing anything, I haven't even built anything, as I just keep doing these tools, and it's like, well, I've now got something. Hell, if I want to, I could start working on the little village, and then I could work on the world around the village. But yeah, I don't know how big I want this village to be, and I'm gonna have to see how I can set up a whole quest. I am still deciding on whether or not to kind of have dungeons with like ores that you can mine. I guess not just dungeons, but anywhere. Just having like ores you can mine and try to implement that where it's like, here, you can buy a miner's license and then you can go mine and then you can go do this and that. Like small mini games and stuff like that that just like allow the player to kind of turn their brain off and go do something, have a goal to grind for. Because I know that at least one of my friends would probably enjoy that. Other one might turn their brain off and play that. So having stuff like that to do, where it's just like, yeah, you could go and mine, level up like your mining skill and get going. I just don't know how to do that. Like, how do I implement all these skills? The scoreboard commands seem like one of my better options to look for creating um, this kind of thing. So I don't know. I've considered one. Like I want to do mining. I just need to figure out how to do mining, so that way I don't allow my players to break my world, because they're not supposed to be allowed to break anything or have access to anything that lets them break anything. Because that, my friends, is no fun. Not at all. It's no fun. What is fun is having a variety of activities to go do. But I don't want to enter fishing because there's quite a few enchantments that you can get, and they're useless if I don't provide a single anvil, right? But if I do provide an anvil, then I gotta cover it up, which means that I can't put any detail on top of it, or I can't put any detail around the blocks because then I have to cover it up, so the players can't interact with it. Which is, it's not hard to do, but if you wanted to add fishing, it's not like there's a whole bunch of special fish that you can catch. Minecraft is not special like that. Minecraft is just fish. So what's the point? other than just like sell that stuff and get money, I guess. But I don't really know how to level up a fishing skill, frankly. I just don't see it. I just don't bloody see it. But, yeah. Fishing is kind of a no. It's a maybe. Because I don't want to rule I don't want to rule anything out and, and just, like, say no. But I do want to say that, like, you feel me? Like, just, mm-mm. For right now, I don't know how I could balance it because I don't want access to these enchantment books at all. And if I give access to enchantment books like that, then I need to make sure I keep any and all access to anvils off limits. I don't know how important XP is going to be. I just don't know. Because I want enchantments to be something special. Like, I don't want you to just be like, oh, I got enchantments. Like, sure, some of the armor you might get could be, enchanted, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's just like, no, Peter, no, can't do that. Oh, come on, Chris, Cleveland. I don't know why his whole family's there, although I didn't say anything about Stewie, Brian, or Meg, but I digress. Stupid shit. I'm just saying silly stuff. All right, silly stuff. Just excuse me. Excuse my language. Excuse me. Let's reset back to the Minecraft world here. You got mining, combat, fishing it's a no right now because I don't know how to balance it. There's a specific pool of loot that you can get from fishing. Maybe I'll just allow players to sell that loot. And that brings me to my next point, the economy. How do I want that to work? That is an amazing question that I don't know about. Because I don't know. I do not know. I could do a scoreboard economy. So it's kind of an infinite money bag. You're not limited on how much gold you have. So like there's no reason to incentivize like players upgrading their pouch and trying to earn more gold that way. But if I did a physical system, it gets really annoying. But then, right, like the early game of an RPG is supposed to be annoying. It's supposed to be a little more risky. The deeper you get into it, the better like the experience is supposed to be, the more convenient it's supposed to be. So, hypothetically, I could still do a scoreboard money system, but I could implement like a bank. So players in the early game will have their physical like money, and then later in the game they can have access to a bank where they can deposit said money, right? And then I'd have to balance around um, the inventory limitations of money, which is 36 slots of 64, quite a bit, but realistically, we got to look at what the player probably has in their inventory. So we're going to take away 9 slots. Maximum 27 slots of currency times 64. I don't know that math, so don't even. Okay? Or we could try to do it. So, what? We got 27 times 60 plus 27 times 64. First, let's solve 60. We're gonna break that down into 10 because we can multiply that number by 6. So 27 times 10 is 270, And we got to multiply that by 6. But hold on. 270 plus 270 is equivalent to 400 plus 114. So that's 540. Multiply 540 by 3, right? 540 times 3 is 1,500 plus 120. So that's 1,620. And we need to take that number and put it on the side here. So we take, what is it? So we're trying to solve 27 times 64, which means we need to look at 27 times 4. Okay, so 1620, put that on the back burner. 27 times 2 is 40 plus 14. Do that twice over, that's 80 plus 28, which is 108. So 108 plus 1620 is 1728. So it's 1728 gold pieces that is like maximum, right? That's a lot of money. That's the player holding max gold currency. Just straight up. Hell, I'm going to bring my phone out, see if I got that math correct. I'm going to be really, really happy if I did. Um, we came up with 1728, I think. So 27 times 64. Oh, oh my goodness gracious. I was correct. 1728 is the maximum item limit per those slots, assuming that we use a stackable item up to 28. And I don't think Bedrock offers you the ability to edit stack sizes. I know Java has a lot more freedom with their command editing, but for Bedrock limitations, also no data packs. I don't do data packs. I don't have a PC for data packs, and I'm also just a stickler for vanilla. Data packs just edit a lot. They're cool, you can do stuff with them, but I just don't like them because at some point it's not fully Minecraft in my eyes, even though it's completely Minecraft. But yeah, so like that's assuming the player grinds that much, but that's a lot of gold, right? You have to balance around. Um, I mean, what would you really need to balance around? I guess the value of individual gold. So like, is 100 gold a lot of gold? That is something I'd have to discern. Because if it was, then the players should not be saving up 1,728 pieces of gold. It should be more like, oh wow, you guys have 120 gold? How the heck did you get all that? But also you gotta look at like, what do the players sell? And how much of it do they sell? And how much is it worth? That is the question. Because if I can figure that out, then I can figure out a puzzle about this game that I didn't even realize. We're gonna make a new notes type here for MC. I'm gonna just call it an RPG. I don't really know if that's what it really is, but What was it? Gold being physical, inventory, inventory. Okay. And then later gain access to a bank. But what if the bank was just for them to store their gold and they had to still retrieve it? So if they wanted to make a purchase, they'd have to have the money physically on them. It's not really that fun though. Being able to just put away your gold into a bank. Hmm. I'm thinking. Because as a player, the player experience I feel would be better if I allowed them to just put it in a bank. It doesn't take up storage space. They're not going to have access to an ender chest for a really long time. Hmm. It's a fantasy world. So there's really no question like, oh yeah, we'll skip the middleman part of the game, forcing the damn player to go and fetch all this gold, and we'll just assume, yeah, they paid them. The gold's taken out of their bank, like they didn't need to go fill half their inventory with it. It's a much better experience for the later game, bigger purchases. So I think we'll later gain access to a bank. I like that. So we'll keep that idea. Early game, it'll be physical. I'd have to develop a way to probably detect both physical and scoreboard, or maybe early undeveloped areas don't have access to the bank system, so they can't get the money. I don't know. That doesn't really make any sense. But it would just make. I'd have to. Maybe there was a way that I could discern that you need physical money versus non. I think the next question is NPCs. Can you know, pay for it both ways? I probably could if I just set up two different like commands. One of them was cash and the other one was bank. Yeah, I could do that. So NPCs, two buttons for purchase, which does limit the buttons that I'm allowed to use. Because if it's like, okay, you want to this, if he had three options for purchases that can be made, then that means that all 6 buttons are taken advantage of. There's not a single button for anything else. 0 space left, and his inventory is 3. Versus like an inventory. Well, no, I guess that would make sense because no, wouldn't make sense. Maybe you should just allow a bank with the risk reward being that you have to return home. But I don't know how dangerous the world would be. Like, if you were to just defeat a boss, wouldn't you naturally, as a player, being conscious about resources, especially in the early game when you really care about every little thing, because it's all new to you? Maybe the bank should be permanent, because that would make the purchases a lot easier. Everybody would know how much money they had. They wouldn't have to stress about it. And well, yeah, they got physical money. They can just go put it in the bank and it's fine. They can go loot it, and so when they come back home, they defeat a boss, they get some gold for it, deposit that, and they're good. Yeah, you know what? No. Let's let's change that. So players should have a bank. So say access to a bank. Um, how do they get this money? So the whole point is you're going to be fighting mobs, and I do want there to be a good, healthy portion of mobs. And I'm going to allow them to drop items. So, the rare iron bar and, the rare occasional copper bar. Maybe I can have those be sold, or the players can keep them as raw materials. Uh, I can avoid having any mishaps with crafting gear by just never providing a crafting table, except for having custom crafts, which I was going to do. I was going to have custom crafters. I could allow them to sell it for a little more. I think it's kind of going to be like a kit PvE, where you just go and kill mobs and then they drop loot and then you sell their dropped items. You go from there. And then maybe for like bosses, I could in the chest like have an item that you could sell for like a big amount of gold, or I could just give them a lot of gold within the chests, stuff like that. I think the funniest part is it wouldn't be per person; it'd just be one chest per instance of kill. So if there's 4 people trying to get the full armor set, it's gonna take quite a few kills. And then if anybody's being selfish, it's gonna take even longer. And the bosses will be on a respawn timer. So yeah, yummers. That could be fun. Okay, so players have access to a bank though at all times. They sell mob drops for cash. Cash. Okay. So I think we'll just make banks a universal system. Anyways, that's a little insight to who I am. A little bit of my thought process. A little insight into how I do math. And a lot of insight into how I do my day to day. It's currently 1:43 in the morning. I don't recommend doing what I do. Not when you have to wake up 6 in the morning, go to work at 7 in the morning, and off at 3 in the afternoon. It's nice for a while until it's no longer nice. But it's the first day off, so I'm chilling. That's everything that I wanted to go through today and a little more. I had not anticipated such, but here I am. Goodbye. See you later. Bye bye.